When we think about our digital lives, all our accounts, our messages, our photos, we tend to think of security like building a wall. But here's the thing. Digital security isn't a wall you build just once. It's more like a constantly shifting battlefield. The very moment you think you're safe, the ground has already moved right under your feet. So, let me ask you a question right off the bat. What do you think is the single biggest threat to your digital security today? Is it some shadowy hacker group, a super clever virus? What's the real danger we should be worried about? Well, it's actually none of those things. The biggest threat is this belief that security is a solved problem, that it ever stands still. It's not. It's a continuous, really high-stakes arms race between the folks trying to break in and the folks trying to keep them out. And today, we're going to dive right into the front lines of that race. Okay, so let's get into our first major trend. This one is something we're all familiar with, but its old fortifications are, well, they're crumbling fast. We are talking about the beginning of the end for the password as we know it. For decades, passwords have been the main key to our digital kingdom, and if we're being honest, they've been a total disaster. They are the #1 reason for security breaches. And why is that? It's simple, really. We forget them, they get stolen in these massive data leaks you always hear about, and let's be real, we're all guilty of using the same easy password over and over again, which just makes us incredibly vulnerable. So, the future is moving in a completely different and much smarter direction, going passwordless. Instead of relying on something you know, a secret word that you can forget or have stolen, this new world relies on two things that are much, much stronger. First, something you have, like the phone in your pocket or a physical security key. And second, something you are, like your unique fingerprint or your face. Now, the magic that makes all of this work is a technology called public key cryptography. I know it sounds super complex, but the core idea is actually beautiful and simple. Your device creates a perfectly matched pair of digital keys. One is public, it's okay to share that one, but the other is private, and you guard that one like a secret. And this is how it works in the real world with something called a passkey. Your phone, let's say, creates that pair of keys. The public key gets sent over to the website server. But the private key, the really important one, it never ever leaves your device. So, when you want to log in, you just unlock your phone with your face or your thumbprint. Your phone then uses that private key to prove it's really you, without ever sending a password or any secret across the internet. It's brilliant because there's nothing for a hacker to steal. All right, so moving on from passwords, our next battlefield is being fought with a technology that is both an unbelievably powerful weapon and an absolutely essential shield. We're talking about artificial intelligence. Yeah, AI is a true double-edged sword in cybersecurity. For the defenders, the shield, it is a total game changer. It can analyze these insane amounts of data to spot attacks happening in real time. But the attackers are using it too. That's the sword. They're using AI to write phishing emails that are so convincing. I mean, emails that perfectly mimic your boss's writing style, asking you to transfer money. They're creating realistic deepfake videos for scams. It's a whole new level of attack. So, just how big of a deal is this? Well, for the companies on defense, the financial impact is just huge. Organizations that really lean into using AI for security save, on average, a staggering $1.9 million when a breach happens. And why? Because that AI can spot and stop an attack before it turns into a complete catastrophe. But there's this new, kind of sneaky internal threat popping up because of AI. It's called shadow AI. This is what happens when employees, just trying to get their work done faster, start using AI tools that the company hasn't approved. They might paste sensitive company plans into a public chatbot without even thinking about it, accidentally creating a massive security hole. And it turns out, breaches that involve this kind of thing are way more expensive and take much longer to clean up. Now I want you to look way over the horizon with me, to a threat that's less like a sword and a shield and more like a digital nuclear option. This is the coming quantum threat. To get our heads around this, you have to understand a basic principle of our security today. Pretty much all the encryption that protects your online banking, your private messages, everything. It all relies on math problems that are just way too hard for even the world's best supercomputers to solve in any reasonable amount of time. But here's the terrifying, paradigm-shifting question. What happens when a completely new kind of computer comes along that can solve those problems? And not just solve them, but solve them easily? Well, that is both the incredible promise and the profound threat of quantum computing. And listen, this isn't just some far-off sci-fi problem. The attack is, in a way, already happening. Adversaries are using a strategy called harvest now, decrypt later. What that means is, right now, today, they are capturing and storing massive amounts of our encrypted data. To them, it's just gibberish at the moment. But that's not the point. See, they're just waiting. They're patiently collecting all this data, waiting for what the experts call Q-Day. That's the day a powerful enough quantum computer is finally built. And on that day, all that data they've been hoarding for years, government secrets, company patents, your private financial records, it could all potentially be unlocked in an instant. Now, the good news is the arms race doesn't stop. The world's top cryptographers aren't just sitting around. They are already working hard on a whole new generation of what's called quantum-resistant cryptography, or QRC. Basically, new ways of hiding data that we believe will be safe from both today's computers and tomorrow's quantum machines.
So, after all of that, where does this leave us? Well, it brings us right back to the central idea of this whole explainer: security's unending journey.
I think this quote just says it all perfectly. Digital security is not a destination, but a continuous journey. It's a field where you're constantly innovating, constantly adapting. Today's best defense is really just the ticket you need to get into tomorrow's fight. So let's wrap this up. Here are the 3 key fronts in this ongoing arms race we've looked at. First, you've got passwords. That's the old battle that thankfully we're finally starting to win. Then you have AI. That's the fast-paced, really complicated battlefield of right now. And finally, there's quantum. That's the strategic, super high-stakes conflict that's going to define our future. And that leaves us with one last really important question. And it isn't just for big companies, it's for you, for me, for all of us. When you look at how you protect your own digital life, ask yourself, is your strategy built for yesterday's battle, or are you getting ready for tomorrow?